Protection District meeting, Flood Control District meeting, and Sanitation District meeting to order. Will you please call the roll?
Thank you. Supervisor Anderson.
Here.
Supervisor Montgomery Stepp.
Here.
Supervisor Desmond.
Here.
Vice Chair Lawson-Remer.
Here.
And Chairwoman Vargas.
I see the vice chairs come in, so I'll relinquish the gavel.
Thank you for getting us started.
Go to closed session report out.
Okay, we'll begin with our closed session report out. Good morning. The Board of Supervisors met in closed session on June 25th, 2024 from 4:50 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. All board members were present. The board took no reportable actions. End of report. Okay, we will now proceed with non-agenda public communications. This is an opportunity for the public to address the board on subject matters within the board's jurisdiction, but not an item on today's agenda. The only action that the board may take is a referral to the Chief Administrative Officer. Reminder, according to Rule 4A, members of the public that are non-English speaking and need interpretation assistance will get twice the allotted time for their comments, which is 4 minutes. Reminder that according to the board rules and procedures, audience members shall not whistle, clap, stomp feet, or engage in any activities that disrupt the proceedings. We will have 5 speakers in person, 5 speakers via phone, and the rest of non-agenda public comment will be heard at the close of today's meeting. I would now call the speakers.
Thank you, Vice Chair Lawson-Remer. We have 18 total requests to speak on matters not listed on the agenda, 3 individuals in person, and 15 requesting to speak by phone. For those that requested to speak via phone, if you could please dial into the conference line now using the instructions that were provided to you. We'll go ahead and begin with the in-person speakers. As your name is called, if you could please come forward and stand against the east wall under the murals until it is your turn to speak. You'll then have 2 minutes to address the board. I'd like to invite forward the following individuals: Hermes, Perita Javier, Cesar Javier. You may come forward in any order.
We are victims of poison gassing in our community.
Good morning. I am Perita Javier, vulnerable senior citizen and taxpayer. We are from County D4 and have been there to seek help to stop ceramics kiln toxicity and ceramics manufacturing at our community-designated residential zone neighborhood. Since 1984, the owner, a member of San Diego Pottery Guild, was able to put up the business impacting our health and safety, now predominantly populated by Asian and Latino residents. It is a violation of California land use and planning laws, which is variance. The use of land must be in accord with health, safety, and public welfare. Also, it's a violation of California environment. Its existence divides this. The husband and wife owners are favored and privileged. Why? We have experienced sneezing, coughing, unusual headache, watery eyes, heart palpitation, all leads to respiratory diseases, lung cancer. County Municipal Code Rules 10 and 11 must be changed. Help.
Thank you. I am Cesar Javier, the husband. I am reminded of the governing body, Air Pollution Control District. Ma'am Lawson-Remer, Ma'am Vargas, you are needed in the Air Pollution Control Governing Board meeting. We know you're honest and wise. We need your help as far as this municipal code, Rule 10 and 11, It is exempted at Air Pollution Control District. We are confused. At land use, at the operation center, we went there. We cannot talk with the land use people. There is some differences in this municipal code. Air Pollution Control District, County District, and the city. It's vague. The word exempt means the business owner can put up a makeshift of an industrial structure at the choice of location, a choice of time of operation, and kind of construction. Ceramic kiln emits toxicity. It's science. It's research study. Say so. It's real. We have experienced all these symptoms leading to respiratory disease. We went to the office of board member Steve. We went to the secret door. I knocked at the door, if only to catch up with Mom. And they told us, oh, this is not our jurisdiction, we cannot help you. You go to District 9. We went there, but they do not like us to speak because we are delaying their planning session. Where else can we go? The staff of Mommy Step said, okay, we settle this, we will provide you respiratory.
Thank you. Next speaker. Thank you.
I hope you will understand us. We are your
Thank you.
Political base. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Next speaker.
Hermes here. I want to go ahead and say thank you for displaying the pride flag, which I like to call the Sodom and Gomorrah flag. But I definitely understand why we promote this so much, and it's because of a mistake that our wonderful Dr. Anthony Fauci made like 50 years ago. When the AIDS pandemic came around, he told everyone to be afraid. Don't drink from the same water fountain as someone who is gay. So I definitely understand where this hatred comes from, Dr. Anthony Fauci. But by putting up a flag that is all about who you want to screw and displaying that on county property is discouraging people that don't believe in that. That goes primarily against their things. That there's a story about Sodom and Gomorrah going into these locations that promote this stuff. Something bad might happen to you. Is that your intentions, is to dissuade Christian and Catholic people from coming into these public facilities by displaying a flag that goes against their beliefs? I don't have a problem with if a dude wants to get rammed in the ass by another dude, I don't care. Or a woman wants to get scissored. Or someone wants to go ahead and dress up in a dress and I don't know, or wear diapers. I don't give a crap about that. But I don't think we should be flying a flag that says, hey, please, everyone pay attention to me and how I like to fuck. I mean, seriously. Have a good one.
We will now hear from those that requested to speak by phone. Again, we'll be hearing from the first 5 callers. Remaining callers will be heard at the conclusion of today's session. When it is your turn to speak, you'll be unmuted and you will hear a recording that will tell you to begin your comments after the beep. I'd like to remind the callers again that they should mute their TV or live video stream before they begin speaking, and we'll go ahead and begin with our first caller.
Paul LeBeau, I'm really glad you gave a few hundred people air purifiers last week. I wish there were a better way. Until the TJ sewage problem is fixed and immigration, wrong speed. When the time's out and things are bad, the good news is that the number of homeless increased only 3%, the homeless that were found, However, when you have the point-time CEO caller saying, well, a 3% increase is encouraging, ... meaning it means that there are still more unsheltered people across the region. Yes, it's better than a 14% increase, but it's still a huge number. And honorable mention to Mayor Gloria for spreading the homeless around to riverbeds and hiding spots where they may be more hidden, and to the more dangerous Caltrans areas where it's easier to stumble across highways or train tracks. And it's nice that he wants to transform HBRX into a safe parking lot, but according to HUD, safe parking and safe sleeping sites don't still count as being unsheltered. The point-in-time Kent CEO also said our biggest challenge remains the sky-high cost of housing across the region. Several of us have said this, but it highlights the need for action. The county needs to do something about this, at least send out a letter. But seriously, a good first step would be to declare a housing emergency and limit rent increases to the cost of living. Also, set up a large-scale...
Thank you. Your time is up. We'll go to our next speaker.
Consuelo, can you hear me? Consuelo, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Go ahead and begin your comments.
Okay, thank you. You can at least respond and tell me you can hear me. Thank you. So what I was going to say was, so basically to Mr. Cesar, there's nowhere to look but in the mirror. We have to fix our own problems, and we have to come together, Mr. Cesar. And I am so honored to be able to know people like you who actually give a shit about this county and this planet. And unfortunately, it's all government. All government offers are Band-Aids. They never have and they never will get to the root of all these problems. They can't, because it's the government itself at the root of all these problems, not only in our county, but on the planet. So it's just, everything is upside down, inside out. And what else do I got? Let's see. Hold on, I'm not done. Yeah, once again, no trust or confidence in this government. Yet the people continue to put their faith and pay their hard-earned taxes to this careless, reckless, worthless corporation. People got to wake up. Wake up, people, wake up. Have a big effing pot of coffee. Wake the heck up. That's all I got. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you. We'll go to our next speaker.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors. This is Ann Riddle. I came today because I wanted to thank the county's communication office for their news releases regarding decisions and activities that go on at San Diego County. 2 weeks ago, the communication was about the Love Your Heart project that the county put in place back in February when they provided 58,000 blood pressure checks for people. And the press release went on to say that 806 of these people were declared in crisis mode and received the help they needed that maybe prevented strokes or heart attacks for them. They went on to say that roughly 27% of the people that they worked with that day, which is 15,000, 16,000 people, were alerted that their blood pressure was considerably higher and that they were probably in stage 1 or 2 or hypertension. I was very impressed with this because I participated in this event. And what is important to remember is that high blood pressure is a major risk for strokes and heart disease, and that heart disease is still the leading cause of death for men and women and people of most racial and ethnic groups here in the United States. When you go on the county site and the CDC site, it points out that it is a complicated blood pressure is a very complicated screening and gives you important information. But there are things that can be done to help bring your blood pressure down, and they particularly mention, and they're part of your Live Well mantra, to improve your diet, to increase the amount of exercise, and to don't smoke or vape. I spoke to the vaping and smoking yesterday because I think it's a serious, important issue here in the county regarding improving our health. And I would just politely like to suggest we do not.
Thank you. Your time is up. We'll go to our next speaker.
Good morning, members of the board. My name is Megan Stewart, and I'm here today as a public health advocate, particularly concerned about the impact of marijuana on brain health, especially among our youth, coinciding with Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month this June. Marijuana, with its increasing availability and potency, poses significant risks to brain development and function, particularly in young people. The short-term effects are well documented: impaired thinking, memory, and coordination. These acute impacts can affect daily activities and academic performance among adolescents. Equally concerning are the long-term effects, which are more profound in developing brains. Studies indicate that marijuana use during adolescence may disrupt the formation of crucial brain connections, potentially leading to persistent issues with attention, memory, and learning throughout adulthood. This vulnerability is increased by factors such as THC potency, which is only rising, frequency of use, age at initiation, and concurrent use of other substances like alcohol and tobacco. Recent legislative changes have expanded access to marijuana products, but the scientific community, including experts at institutions like Columbia University and the University of California, San Diego, stresses the need for rigorous research to inform public policy and clinical practice. We must ensure that regulations take into consideration comprehensive studies on the impact of marijuana, especially on vulnerable populations such as adolescents and pregnant women. Furthermore, we must address the misleading perception that marijuana is harmless. Claims of its therapeutic value lack scientific validation and overshadow potential risks, including mental health conditions like PTSD and interfering with pharmaceutical treatments. I urge the board to prioritize public health by supporting evidence-based policies that restrict youth access to marijuana and promote comprehensive education on its risks. Thank you for your time and your attention.
Thank you. We'll go to our next speaker.
Good morning. This is Peggy Walker. I don't undermine anyone's desire for social equity. However, I wonder if the county, in approving a marijuana equity program, has looked at in-depth investigative reports questioning their viability. The Minority Cannabis Business Association's 2022 National Cannabis Equity Report, for one, rated the 15 social equity programs across the country as inequitable based on the organization's equity standards. Arizona once touted its social equity program as a national model, but today only a handful of original social equity license holders retain ownership. The head of the Arizona Center for Investigative Reporting argues the state equity program did the exact opposite of what was intended. Most licenses issued to economically disadvantaged people were sold out to large multi-state corporate companies or private investors. There was no meaningful uplift to their communities. Lawyer Gary Smith said the only people qualified for Arizona's equity program were almost guaranteed to fail because of zoning challenges, time constraints, funding, and operational cost challenges. So I asked, why will it be any different here? Project into the future. There may be no equity ownership because qualified applicants sell out their licenses. But there will always be more pot shops, more ads and billboards promoting special dope deals or BOGO buy one, get one free sales, more predatory marketing, and more young people hooked on addictive marijuana. The only winner here is big marijuana. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. And Chairwoman Vargas, that concludes the request for non-agenda public communication this morning. Again, all remaining speakers will be heard at the conclusion of today's session.
Thank you.
The next item of our agenda is the approval of minutes statement of proceedings for the regular meeting of June 5th, 2024, the Flood Control District meeting of June 5th, the Fire Protection District meeting of June 4th, 2024, the Sanitation District meeting of May 22nd, 2024. Is there a motion?
So moved.
And is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Please vote.
And Chairwoman Vargas, that motion passes unanimously with all supervisors being present voting aye.
All right, thank you. We will now proceed with the formation of our consent calendar, items 1 through 4, FLO 1 and SA01. Members of the public will be able to comment on the consent calendar after the supervisors pull the items they would like for discussion. Supervisor Anderson, any items? Okay, Vice Chair Lawson-Remer. Supervisor Montgomery-Stepp.
Yes, just real quick on FLO1. This is the flood in Casa de Oro storm drain emergency repair. I just want to briefly thank the Department of Public Works for their work on all these projects that have severely impacted County District 4. To this day, many community-based organizations have been focusing on resiliency efforts to prepare for future adverse storms and other climate and environmental justice-related impacts. And folks are just still recovering. So I just wanted to highlight that and say thank you.
Supervisor Desmond?
No, no comment, nothing to pull, and a move to approve the consent calendar.
Okay, is there a second? All right, we'll now turn it over to public comment.
Thank you, Chairman Vargas, and I'd also just like to note for the record that we did receive an errata that made changes to items 1 and 2. With that being said, we have 7 total requests to speak on items on the consent calendar, all coming via phone. So for any of the members of the public that requested to speak on items on the consent calendar, please dial into the conference line now using the instructions that were provided to you, and we'll go ahead and give you a moment to do so. Okay, we will now hear from those that have requested to speak by phone. When it is your turn to speak, you will be unmuted and you hear a recording that will tell you to begin your comments after the beep. Again, I'd like to remind the callers they should mute their TV or live video stream before they begin speaking. And again, we're hearing the consent calendar, so please keep your comments to the consent calendar. We'll begin with our first caller.
All aboard. I'm really glad you gave a few hundred people air purifiers last week, and I wish there were a better way. Until the TJ sewage problem is fixed and immigration is under control, you should not put people in harm's way by creating TJ Valley River Park like a mile or two from the plants that went bust. And you're smearing the name of every county resident when you nor call us gateway to California while the air stinks, the sewage piles up, the people are sick, and businesses are fleeing. There was a new sewage spill, 300,000 gallons. Pressure relief valve at a South Bay pump station built to capture Mexican sewage failed. Sounds like what's wrong with TJ. Here, the new equipment failed worse than the replaced equipment. That contributing sewage plants just went on contributing is inexcusable and highlights the folly of creating a TJ Valley River Park before things are actually fixed. Just one more broken, dysfunctional system. We need better communication and maybe fix-it men on site. Things like this are avoidable, and the problem is worse than ever despite all of the money and PR efforts you've poured into it over the years. While the emergency needs to be continued, it needs to be fixed, a global big picture fix, not just a few Band-Aid solutions or a bunch of PR moves the impression I got. JPA, you want to let the JPA board appoint an outside auditor, treasurer, and legal advisor? The JPA to choose an outside person as one of these people could be part of a corrupt organ, then outside the public view and not subject to public control. It reeks of potential corruption.
Thank you. Your time is up. We'll go ahead and go to our next speaker.
Which one was it? Okay. Let's see. I'm just going to repeat what Paul the Bold just said. Ditto to Paul the Bold. I'm really glad you gave a few hundred people air purifiers last week. I wish there were a better way. Of course not. Until Tijuana's sewage problem is fixed and immigration under control, which will never happen, you should not put people in harm's way by creating a Tijuana River Valley Park. But they will. And you are smearing the name of every county resident when you, Nora, call this the gateway to California. While the air stinks, the sewage piles up, the people are sick, and businesses are fleeing. They don't care. That's government. There was a new sewage spill, 300,000 gallons, holy moly. A pressure relief valve at a South Bay pump station built to capture sewage from Mexico failed. Surprising. Sounds like what's wrong in Tijuana. Sounds like what's wrong in Tijuana. Here, the new equipment failed worse than replaced equipment. Just like the government. That, let's see. That contributing sewage plant just went to contributing is inexcusable and highlights the folly of creating a Tijuana Valley River Park before things are fixed. Just one more broken, dysfunctional system. They already have. We need better communication and maybe fix it men on site. No, we need a new system, period. No more chances. Government gets no more chances, no more money. You're all fired. Things like this are avoidable, and the problem is worse than ever, despite all the money and PR efforts. Propaganda.
Thank you. Your time is up. We'll go to our next speaker.
It's truth. Item 1, why is it taking almost 2 years to spend $400,000 in American Ruination Plan Act debt dollars? And it's at least another year to actually finish building the one single community garden at Collier Park. Surely the actual community could have already built the park themselves for a lot less money. And I like to see a requirement that this garden is an organic-only garden. No artificial or toxic pesticides and no modifications so the community can actually have real healthy food. Item 2, there was no extremely rare storm event, and there was no so-called severe storms. There was very common severe government negligence that made a simple, normal winter weather event turn deadly. This item even essentially admits that when it refers to 9 tons of miscellaneous debris from upstream, that destroyed the Day Fair Memorial Bridge. Where did that debris suddenly come from? Was it from storm channels that were left unmaintained and unclean? Good thing this bridge was constructed like the game Jenga, able to stand while missing pieces. It's just going to cost $200,000 to fix. Item 3, it's sad that both the Rancho San Diego Local Park Board and the San Miguel Local Park Board are now in D4 because the first split the Chaldean community and the second split Spring Valley from Casa de Oro. And it's also said that Rancho can't even get 5 people on the board. But would 3 seats mean that only one person has to show up to make quorum? Item 4. This item's so fun, we talk about it 2 days in a row. But instead of a proclamation to nowhere but more sewage, I'd like to see the International Water Boundary Commission dismantled to be replaced with 100% local control. I'd like to see the U.S. government fix the treatment plant and then pay damages. I'd like to see the Mexican government fix the treatment plant and then pay damages instead of getting 50% of our future toll revenue or have any say in our local standard. Or to be able to share any world design capital designation with us. Actually, Tijuana can keep that scam. And I'd like to see every supervisor quit playing the federal debt dollar games and instead become like, you know what? if we don't get what we want,
Thank
we're
you. Your
done.
time is up. We'll go to our next speaker.
HHSA should have nothing to do with food production program or any kind of garden. It's sad that it takes so long to put one in and how much it costs, and that it's going to be operated and maintained by Parks and Rec, because what you guys should be doing is not putting any toxic chemicals on any of that food, but you probably will, because that's what the MO of HHS is. That's why Dr. Death, now that she's retired, but you should be doing electroculture, because you could actually produce a whole lot of produce for people so that they can eat, and it's a lot larger. You don't need pesticides. You just water it, and it keeps the bugs away, and there's so many benefits to that, but that's not something you guys want to do. It's all about, just moving money around and pretending to do something. And severe winter storms, those are geoengineering. It's cloud seeding that actually happened, and it fits right into your narrative, but the problem is that you guys didn't upkeep the infrastructure. Now you want to, continue to fix it, but if you never acknowledge the geoengineering, which many states have actually banned, then it's going to continue to happen, because not only are you going to be negligent, but the storms will continue with it being man-made weather, and if you don't acknowledge that, you're not going to stop it, and it's just going to be a repeat cycle of everything that's going on. And this local emergency for Tijuana, sorry, Nora, it was 32 years that you've been working on this, and look where it's gone, nowhere. And the fact, like Paul was saying, and Consuelo, about the gateway to California, or hell, whichever one you want to say, if you always have illegals coming in down there and there's a sewage problem and it's toxic, you should never be putting people down there. You shouldn't even be having anybody from like the YMCA going down there and dealing with it, potentially putting children at risk. But all you care about is your money. And having, the borders open, even though we already know that like over 400 ISIS individuals have crossed the border. But hey, that's not a problem, but.
Thank you. Your time is up. And Chairwoman Vargas, that concludes public comment on the items on the consent calendar.
All right. Seeing no additional comments from my colleagues, please vote.
And Chairwoman Vargas, that motion passes unanimously with all supervisors being present and voting aye.
Thank you. Next item for discussion is item number 5, a public hearing to confirm fiscal year 2024-2025 levies in the San Diego County Street Lighting District and Landscape Maintenance District Zones number 1, Rancho San Diego, and number 2, Jess Martin Park and related CEQA exception. I'm going to go ahead and ask speakers to come forward.
Thank you, Chairman Vargas. We do have 5 total requests to speak, all coming via phone again. Also like to note for the record that we did receive 1 e-comment on this item, which was in favor. For any members of the public that have requested to speak on this item by phone, if you could please dial into the conference line now using the instructions that were provided to you, and we'll give you a moment to do so. We will now hear from those that requested to speak by phone again. When it is your turn to speak, you'll be unmuted. You'll hear a recording that will tell you to begin your comments after the beep. Again, I'd like to remind the callers they should mute their TV or live video stream before they begin speaking, and we'll go ahead and begin with our first caller.
It's true. Special districts are special because they get to pay more taxes to exist. But I think it's okay to celebrate $2 for street lights. You can never have too many street lights. But I'd like them to not use LEDs, which have been found to damage eyes. So, you want healthy communities or not? Landscape Maintenance District, Zone Number 1 in Rancho San Diego is going up by 3%, the standard low-end inflationary rate. But it's the maximum increase now costing people $39. Jess Martin Park and Julian is staying the same at $47 per household to continue park maintenance and minor construction improvements. This would most likely be skyrocketing if the people in the area had signed up to a deal with different fine print. The legal document says the county can't touch the rate. Of course, as this item alludes, the county doesn't like this and would love to tax every person from outside the neighborhood who occasionally enjoys the park. That's the same tyrannical thought that most in government have. Enjoy our park, tax. Enjoy our roads, tax. Enjoy our sports complex, tax. Enjoy the air, tax. And that money racket dream is even demanded after people's tax money was used to build the stuff for all to enjoy. The day the county could tax non-locals for enjoying a public park like Jess Martin Park is the day people will treat parks like tolls. Stay away. So that's also why levy taxes need to stay low to make public parks a viable option for continued community or visitors' enjoyment. It's the same premise as having a low city sales tax. It makes people want to shop locally or even to visit another city to shop there. Of course, every city's jacking up taxes because, you know, inflation's raising every tax every place. And so the site is a little out of touch when it says without the additional revenue, services would be reduced, resulting in deferred maintenance and more costly future repairs. Because eternal inflation itself is a serious problem when it increases the cost of future repairs, which itself tends to defer maintenance. There seems to be a disconnect from why people opt out of levies or they can't.
Thank you. Your time is up. We'll go to our next speaker.
Yeah, it's crazy when we pay for everything and then you just make us pay more and more and more if we want to enjoy something or have something maintained, all while you were supposed to maintain things and then you don't. So there's no trust from the public to believe that, you know, the more money you get, that the better things are going to get, because that doesn't happen. And, you know, many times this is doing things that, you know, it looks good on the surface because it seems like what you're doing is going to be upkeeping all of the infrastructure and what needs to be maintained, when in reality, you're not. And, you know, it doesn't matter how much money you get from the people. It's just like with homelessness or anything, it's all a business. And you just collect more and more money to, you know, pay salaries and different things, all while, you know, the infrastructure and everything suffers. And with streetlights or, you know, anything like that, when you're this is a way for bringing in more surveillance, because you can have Li-Fi, which is you know, through LED lights, and it transmits data way quicker than Wi-Fi. And all of the things that you want to do to bring in to possibly, you know, provide more technology is really just going to make people more and more sick with all of that kind of infrastructure. But, I mean, that's your plan, right? I mean, because if we really wanted people to be healthy, the world would be a different place, and we wouldn't be doing such atrocious things to the people and, you know, asking them to, say, inject themselves with a bioweapon or rip babies apart limb by limb. This is an inverted world, so everything that would seem to be good, just like the devil, is actually rotten. And, you know, I just think that we should stop. If you want people to trust you, then spend the money on what it should be spent on. But don't put it into the pockets of other people and not maintain what needs to be maintained, but continue to increase what the people have to pay out. When, again, we already pay for everything anyway. And you guys.
Thank you. Your time is up. We'll go to our next speaker.
Okay, so levies. Okay, so more fees, more fees, more fees for the people, and they always get the short end of the deal. Horrible, horrible, horrible idea. And yeah, this is just all. Honestly, this is all part of the agenda for the 21st century. I don't know if you guys have heard about it. Have you? UN Agenda 21? A little something you got to want to look into. Hopefully by now you've done a little bit of research on it. Yep, you're all contributing, you're all complicit to enabling this agenda to go through, and it's really sad. It's very, very sad. So yeah, look into it. It's called UN Agenda 21. Hopefully you've heard of it. If not, you really need to get on track with what's going on. Okay? Not being puppets. Start, you know, being proactive and saving humanity. Do something. Don't just collect a paycheck. And, yeah. That's all I got.
Thank you. And Chairman Vargas, that concludes public comment on this item.
Okay, is there a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve item 5.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, and seeing no additional discussion, please vote.
And Chairwoman Vargas, that motion passes unanimously with all supervisors being present voting aye.
All right, we'll now move on to item number 6. This item will be heard concurrently with Fire Protection District item number 2, confirm fiscal year 2024-2025 levies for community facilities districts and related CEQA exception. I'm going to go ahead and ask the public to come forward for any public comment.
Thank you, Chairwoman Vargas. We do have 4 total requests to speak, all coming again via phone. I'd also like to note for the record, we did receive 1 e-comment on this item, which is also in favor. For any members of the public that have requested to speak on this item by phone, please dial into the conference line now using the instructions that were provided to you, and we'll go ahead and give you a moment to do so. We will now hear from those that request to speak via phone. Again, when it's your turn, you'll be unmuted. You'll hear a recording that will tell you to begin your comments after the beep. I'd like to remind the callers they should mute their TV or live video stream before they begin speaking, and we'll go ahead and begin with our first caller.
Crazy, just more fees, right? So that you can pretend to upkeep what you need to. But when you don't acknowledge why there's actual problems going on, like why the storms are getting more crazy, it has nothing to do with climate change. But again, when you serve this climate god, you're going to praise it and act like that we need to do more and more, when in reality you're making the people suffer more because you won't bring that into the forefront and see what's actually happening. And especially with fires, you're wanting to put all these lithium bombs everywhere that create fires that can't be put out. They just let them burn, right? But let's just keep putting them all over the place. And then you don't want to acknowledge the chemtrails and the spraying above our skies that is actually nanothermite, causing fires to, burn hotter, quicker, and further. But so if we are going to be paying more money, then you need to be acknowledging those things and bringing that forward to have transparency for the public so they know exactly why this stuff is going on. It's not only your negligence with the infrastructure, but it's your negligence in bringing forward what's actually happening so that people can make a sound mind decision. They've already told you they don't want a bunch of these lithium bombs continue to go up, and it's continued to be ignored about the amount of fires and the craziness that can happen. I mean, these can burn underwater. Like, they'll be on fire underwater. So unless you're going to figure out a way to be putting these fires out in a very quick manner, all of that kind of stuff, infrastructure needs to go. We're not going to pay more and more money just so you can pretend to, provide a service, and also giving people back their own sewage. This is BS, because we shouldn't be recycling our own sewage and giving it back to the people. Like, that's the only healthy way to do it, especially when you're poisoning it. You should be drilling for water. It's geowater, waters of the deep. It will come up and it be abundant. So you guys need to be doing things. If you want more money from the people, then you have to act.
Thank you. Your time is up. We'll go to our next speaker.
It's truth. Levies are a nice word for taxes. For tax collection, there's Harmony Grove Village, Horse Creek Ridge Maintenance, Sweetwater Place Maintenance, Meadowwood Maintenance, Park Circle Maintenance, Piper Oak Reserve Maintenance, CFD number 04-1 and CFD number 09-1. Some of those things aren't like the others. Is there some way we can encourage the last two communities to give their community facility districts unique names? These tax levies have to increase because inflation's increasing, right? But when does it end? Do we have a scheduled time for that? Those educated know these tax increases and demands from different government jurisdictions only end when the Federal Reserve ends. There needs to be a sunset date on all of these issues, because how much longer until homeowners start saying they can no longer afford to pay the tax levies? There's already been people opting out of districts because the money taxed wasn't even enough to repair the roads. But there's anywhere from a $53,000 to $59,000 increase for Harmony Grove. $4,000 to $11,000 increase for Horse Creek Ridge, a $13,000 increase for Sweetwater Place, a $70,000 to $161,000 increase for Meadowwood, a $48,000 increase for Park Circle, a $1,000 increase for Piper Otay Preserve. That's actually reasonable, but that's because there's no homes. It's a business park. A $1,000 increase for CFD number 04-1. Another reasonable one, but that's because the development's just getting started. It's to fund future fire response in areas like Tacoma. So I'm curious what the plan is for the illegal migrants setting fires. Nothing. Lastly, a $0.4 million increase for CFD number 09-1, which is crazy, but that's because it's to fund a temporary sheriff station, a fire station, and a permanent sheriff station. As you can hear, it's going to be needed. But I'd like to see some real community consent on any increased tax levies. And I'd like to stop hearing Joel say the quiet part out loud, that it's people's own fault for not being involved. Why would they?
Thank you. Your time is up. We'll go to our next speaker. Consuelo, it's your turn to speak. You might have yourself muted.
Yes, I did. Thank you. Consuelo. So they sell scarcity while we live in abundance. I mean, all these tax levies, honestly, maybe I have a really good suggestion to get rid of the security guards that Nora has, and we can have those tax dollars being used for the levies. How's that? Because you really don't need the security, Nora. Honestly, people don't know who you are, and the people that are paying attention, they don't want to hurt you, so you fear nothing. It's so funny. And then your big gas guzzler that you're now in, I mean, you got a bike attached to that? You biking your way, or what? So, yeah, how about that as a solution? Doesn't it sound like a lot more logical than more taxes, more fees, more junk for the people that can't afford living already? There's a solution, honestly. Think about it. Get rid of your security guards. You don't need them, honestly. You look silly. Prima donna. That's it.
Thank you. And Chairwoman Vargas, that concludes public comment on this item.
Thank you. Is there a motion, colleagues?
I'll move the item.
Is there a second? Thank you. Any additional discussion? Seeing none, please vote.
And Chairwoman Vargas, that motion passes unanimously with all supervisors being present voting aye.
Thank you. We will now move on to item number 9. This item will be, it says 8 right there, actually. We'll now move on to item number 8. This item will be heard concurrently with Sanitation District Item 2, public hearing to approve fees and charges for fiscal year 2024-25, tax roll of San Diego County Sanitation District, Campo Water Maintenance District, and County Service Area Number 137, Live Oak Spring Water System, and related CEQA exceptions. I will now call the public speakers forward.
Thank you, Chairwoman Vargas. We have 4 total requests to speak, again, all coming via phone. I'd also like to also note for the record, we did receive 1 e-comment on this item, which was in favor. For any members of the public that requested to speak on this item by phone, please dial into the conference line now using the instructions that were provided to you, and we'll go ahead and give you a moment to do so. Now will we hear from those that request to speak by phone? Again, when it's your turn to speak, you'll be unmuted. You'll hear a recording that will tell you to begin your comments after the beep. I'd like to remind the callers again to mute their TV or live video stream before they begin speaking, and we'll go ahead and begin with our first caller.
Hey, it's Truth. I love being first. Isn't it fun? Let's see. You got a whole bunch of places: Spring Valley, Lakeside, Alpine, Winter Gardens, East Otay, Mesa, Campo, Julian, and Pine Valley that get to see their sewer service charges go up. At least that's what it seems like. Champo Water District's water rates are actually going to stay the same, though, at $1,320 a year. That used to be the price of rent. Remember that? Live Oak Springs Water System's base charge is almost $100, plus a tiered consumption use charge from $11 to over $13 per 100 cubic feet. Sewer charges will be over $578 per equivalent dwelling unit in the aforementioned areas. But this item says that this is the people's opportunity to comment on sewer and water service charges, and that any interested person may appear and object or protest said report. So there should be tons of people giving their opinions about it, right? And of course, that's my segue, because this is a great opportunity where I get to finish my earlier point. I like to stop hearing Joel say the quiet part out loud, that it's people's own faults for not being involved. Because why would they want to come down and have their say about stuff if you just stare at your phone while they speak? Arrogant. And do most normal working people have the ability to even show up to a 9 a.m. meeting on a Wednesday? No. Now, yes, it said you could email, and we know where the emails tend to go in the county, black hole of no response. And so why would they do that? So you have to actually encourage participation. That's also the job of a representative. You should be encouraging community engagement, not talking about it, not blaming people, even though, yes, that's true, 100% agree, but you got to make them want to be involved. You got to inspire engagement, and you don't. That's a failure on.
Thank you. Your time is up. We'll go ahead and go to our next speaker.
They do not want anybody involved so they can continue to do all this thing under people's noses and act like they're representing the people. And so what I was thinking, if you guys represent the people, how about you pay these fees? Like, you guys pay. And again, like as Consuelo was saying, it'd be good. I mean, Nora, you don't need Nathan's detail, on a rotating basis. Going to figure out how much that's costing, because if it's anywhere near that, $1 million, you're crazy, and that should be going to all these fees that you want to increase, because it'll be, you'll still have some money left over to, have someone come in, maybe just put their hand in carry your pocket or something like that. But if you guys represent the people, you can and say that this is what for the people, then go ahead and pay for it. Since you guys are the ones voting on it and doing all this stuff, it'd be great if you just would take care of it. Then you can be like, yeah, I represent the people, I pay for it because it's so great. But I bet you wouldn't want to do that, right? Because that wouldn't be equitable. And you have to throw all this stuff down on the people, even though they're suffering. It's like, you guys want some stuff that you already paid for to use it, to have this service provided. We're going to have to charge you more and more and more. And if you can't pay this, we'll just take your house. It'll be cool. I mean, because if you don't pay your taxes, right? I mean, they just come in and you make money anyway. I mean, you guys the scam is so good. It's crazy how good the scam is. I mean, people just fall right into the trap all the time. Man, I can't wait for the day that you guys fall into the trap, because you're setting yourself up into a trap, and you're going to fall into it and be so bummed that you backed yourself into that corner and did all this to the people. Because you're never going to have enough people that are going to come and talk about it when they don't even know who you are or what you do or why you're even here. So it's sad, because that's why you wouldn't want to engage with people and make sure that more and more people come or are, and it's like.
Thank you. Your time is up. We'll go to our next speaker.
Good morning, Supervisors. My name is Kathleen Lippett. My early education focused on protecting the environment. Once a leading protector of the environment, nearly all California municipal governments have done an about-face and are taking advantage of CEQA exemptions, mainly pretty much for any project that they want to approve. So they're circumventing the very reason that CEQA was created, the California Environmental Quality Act. Especially that's true in the unincorporated areas. You've got these unincorporated planning groups that want their water resources protected. Their groundwater is the only resource that they have to continue to be able to supply water for them. But instead, the county has allowed the marijuana industry to be able to use groundwater. No one is looking out for the chemicals that they are using or for the amount of water that they're be taking. They should be obligated to use municipal water and pay for it. They should not be getting free water from the rest of unincorporated counties. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you. And Chairwoman Vargas, that concludes public comment on this item.
Thank you. Is there a motion? I'm happy. Okay. Second? I'm happy to second it. All right. Any additional discussion? Seeing none, please vote.
And Chairwoman Vargas, that motion passes unanimously with all supervisors being present voting aye.
All right, we'll now move on to item number 9, the public hearing and confirmation of levies for mosquito vector and disease control benefit assessment and mosquito abatement and vector control service charge for fiscal year 2024-2025 and related CEQA exception. Now I'll call the public speakers forward, please.
Thank you, Chairman Vargas. We have 4 total requests to speak, again, all coming via phone. Also, again, I'd like to note for the record, we did receive 1 e-comment on this item, which was neutral. For any members of the public that requested to speak on this item by phone, please dial into the conference line now using the instructions that were provided to you, and we'll go ahead and give you a moment to do so. We will now hear from those that requested to speak by phone. Again, when it's your turn to speak, you'll be unmuted. You'll hear a recording that will tell you to begin your comments after the beep. Again, I'd like to remind the callers they should mute their TV or live video stream before they begin speaking. Go ahead and begin with our first caller.
It's true. This one is so simple. You don't even have to research. It's just easy. Absolutely not one dime to vector control. I'm going to say why. This is simple. If you read the safety data sheet, there's natural. It says acute toxicity, category 4. Warning, harmful if inhaled. Repeated exposure may cause irritation and or lung damage, including silicosis, fibrosis, and inflammation. Moderately toxic to aquatic organisms. And there's 4-star. It says carcinogenicity level 2. Skin sensitization. Hazard statements may cause damage to organs through prolonged or repeated exposure. Inhalation, suspected of causing cancer. Harmful if inhaled. Do not breathe dust. Let me go to Vectobax. Let's take a quick look at this one, if I could find something real quick here. Maybe that one's okay. Well, considering. But anyways, you could just look at the one right there. What was this? 4-star. That is one of the larvicides that the county sprays. And you can hear that it potentially causes cancer. And yet, if you go on the County Vector Control Program website, they always say, oh, this isn't harmful. And we're just going to spray it at 52 locations over 1,400 acres, including in Escondido, Rancho Bernardo, Forest Ranch, San Diego, Rancho Santa Fe, Lakeside, Santee, Chula Vista, Encinitas, Solana Beach, Carlsbad, Oceanside, and Fallbrook. They don't care, obviously, about the environment. How could they if they're spraying this stuff? And you could see the safety data sheets for yourself. But for people's knowledge, they are spraying today and tomorrow, July 17th and 18th, August 7th and 8th, August 28th and 29th, September 18th and 19th, and October 9th and 10th, if needed, which means they're going to. So absolutely no to this program. It needs to stop if anyone really cares about the environment.
Thank you. Your time is up. We'll go to our next speaker.
some more fees to do some more nefarious things, and because you got increases in salary and benefits for the people that are spraying toxins and whatnot. And I'm just wondering, do you mean you're causing disease? That's the control of it? I mean, because there was an invisible killer dot going around that you were trying to make everybody afraid of, and tell them that they have to inject themselves with a bioweapon that is totally just destroying their bodies. So it's that's what you're basically doing to the land. You're we're going to save it by spraying all these harmful toxic chemicals to help the environment. You guys are the reason why shit's so bad, because you're doing the opposite of what should be done. It's inverted. That's why you can tell whose God you serve and where all of this stuff comes from, because you sit here and you act like you're actually doing something good, but you're poisoning people and the environment. And you're doing that with the water. No, it's a pure water, and we're going to give it back to you, but we just have to put lye in it. That'll dissolve all the bodies that we're putting in there. You guys are domestic terrorists. It's crazy. I mean, with everything that you do. And you do it in a way where people are just thank you so much for being a domestic terrorist. Thank you for spraying us with toxins and chemicals that are going to cause cancer and, help us die a little bit quicker. And you guys are so good at pushing the Agenda 21. I mean, how proud is everybody of you, right? I mean, but that doesn't exist, right? It's the inversion of going, that's not what we're doing, when in reality, that's what you're doing. So, I mean, just kudos to you guys. There's a bunch of gold stars giving that to you around in some sewer water. I flavored it with a little bit of arsenic and lye, but it's okay. I mean, it means that it is good for you, and it's not going to do anything bad. It's actually going to make you real healthy. So just drink it. You might want to sip it because it's going to be a little bit, the taste is a little bit weird at first, but you'll just
Thank you. Your time is up. We'll go to our next speaker.
Consuelo, 3 words. Millions against Monsanto. I had this bumper sticker on my car 12 years ago. Dang it. I need to get another one. But, actually, Paul the Bold had a great idea, a suggestion. How about we get the blood from all the babies that Tara has had murdered and send all that blood to her house to attract all the mosquitoes? What do you guys think? Yeah? Yay, nay? I think they might go for it, Paul. Yeah, it's way better than Roundup. And there's actually, honestly, at this point, you don't know about Millions Against Monsanto, and you don't know the harmful effects that it's doing to not only the people. I mean, you guys are included as, the people too. You're being affected. So your little nodules in your throat aren't going to get any better with breathing all that junk in, Nora. So you need to get on top of this. I mean, there's so many other solutions. How about letting nature take its course? It's okay. If you're going to get rid of mosquitoes and try to do that, why don't you get rid of other things like stupid taxes and stupid fees? Right? Doesn't sound like, you guys would be included in that too. You wouldn't have to pay for all these crappy ideas and then act like you're doing something really great. So, but yeah, I think we should. All the blood to your house, Tara. What do you think about that? Yay? Nay? Maybe? Okay, that's all I got.
Thank you. And Chairman Vargas, that concludes public comment on this item.
Is there a motion?
I'll move the item.
Is there a second? All right, we have a motion and a second. Please vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Vargas. That motion passes unanimously with all supervisors being present and voting aye.
All right, we'll now move on to item number 10, Traffic Advisory Committee and related CEQA exemption. We're going to now move to public speakers.
Thank you, Chairwoman Vargas. We do have 5 total requests to speak, all coming again via phone. Also, again, like to note for the record, we did receive 1 e-comment on this item, which was in opposition. For any members of the public that have requested to speak on this item by phone, please dial into the conference line now using the instructions that were provided to you, and we'll go ahead and give you a moment to do so. All right, we will now hear from those that have requested to speak by phone. Again, when it is your turn to speak, you'll be unmuted. You will hear a recording that will tell you to begin your comments after the beep. Again, I'd like to remind the callers they should mute their TV or live video stream before they begin speaking, and we'll go ahead and begin with our first caller.
Okay, what are we on? The traffic signals? What number? 10. Are we on 10? Yes?
Correct, item 10.
Mrs. Gonzalo? Okay, great. Traffic signals. What are we on? Okay.
I think they're making so many dumb little 5-mile-an-hour speed limit changes.
Oh, yeah, all to penalize. Yep, all to penalize the people for driving. This is another dumb idea from government, and you're just going along with it. But that's okay, because at least Nora has a ride with the big gas-guzzling SUV and her security. That's all I got on this.
Thank you. We'll go to our next speaker.
Yeah, you guys should definitely practice what you preach with the whole, GHGs and vehicle miles travel. Like Nora, you really should get rid of that gas guzzler. You should be the first. All of you should you return those, exchange them for bikes. And then you could have like a little sidecar on it or something if you guys want to bring someone along. But this is interesting. I feel like, why don't we just cut to the chase? We know what's going to happen here. You're just going to get rid of all the parking. You're going to make it so that it's like 5 miles an hour speed limit. So people are like, I want to walk or bike because I can get there quicker. So, why not just go down to like 1 mile an hour? And then you can just make revenue because you're going to give people tickets. And that should be equitable across the board along with the bikes and walking. So let's just really slow the pace down of, what's happening. And let's just really just have people almost like crawl around. I feel like they could do that. They could, crawl and, possibly, I don't know, actually maybe what we should start looking into is teleportation as well, because I don't think that will cause GHGs, but who knows, we might have to test it and see, and it could be like a few years that we do. But for the meantime, I think if we just reduce it all the way, get rid of all the parking, then we're going to just be there, and the people will be ready. We're not going to have to be like, oh, it's like boiling the frog slowly. You know what I mean? Just burn the bitch. We got to just do it. Cut it off. Pull that Band-Aid off right off the bat. Because otherwise it's like we're just, placating with people's emotions, having them think what is this really about? Is this really to, save the planet, or is it to control the people? That way the people just understand you're trying to control them and everything they do. And then eventually we can bring in the Soylent Green and whatnot, just dissolve the bodies and give it back to the people, because we're already doing that with the sewage because there's aquamation and all of that. So, man, it's so interesting just to see you guys do it. But for real, let's just do it quicker. You're wasting time.
Thank you. Your time is up. We'll go ahead and go to our next speaker.
Oh, hey, it's Truth. I actually think that Nora feels as excited about this item as much as everyone else. That's why we're commenting. This is exciting, thrilling stuff. Makes me want to participate. Although Traffic Advisory Committee, pretty much nothing makes me want to throw up a stop sign more than them. It may be time to start looking into the people sitting in those seats and see what cults or agendas they subscribe to. But something I just now thought about is that it seems like the county is changing speed limits outside its jurisdiction. Is that legal? Is the county in charge of city roads? Because I thought that residents in cities were paying taxes for their own roads. Are they actually county roads? Because, for example, you got First Street to Pepper Drive in El Cajon, reducing the speed limit to 30 miles per hour. Bradley Avenue to First Street, another reducing the speed limit to 35 miles per hour. Felicita Road to Villa Rancho Parkway in Escondido gets to be 45 miles per hour. Until next meeting, when it will surely be reduced like everywhere else. Buena Vista Drive to Mar Vista Drive in Vista, reducing the speed limit to 25 miles per hour. And that one is San Francisco speed slow. And for those that don't know what I'm referring to, please watch the Sandag video entitled Sandag Webinar on AB 43 and AB 1938. You can hear San Francisco's Municipal Transportation Agency's representative discuss how slowing speed limits does absolutely nothing for safety, that it's all just a hope that people will be safer. And also how people don't even drive slower just because a sign tells them a ridiculously low speed limit. It's kind of common sense. If it says 20 and there's no reason for it to be 20, why should you go 20? But there was a great one. That one, the first one in El Cajon, it said it's going to be, the speed limit is going to reduce because there's traffic hazards associated with parked vehicles.
Thank you. Your time is up. And Chairwoman Vargas, that concludes public comment on this item.
Thank you. Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Have a motion and a second. See no other discussion, please vote.
And Chairwoman Vargas, that motion passes unanimously with all supervisors being present voting aye.
All right, wonderful. We'll now go to non-agenda public comment for the remainder of the public speakers.
Thank you, Chairwoman Vargas. We do have 10 total requests to speak on matters not listed on the agenda. Those are all coming via phone. So we will ask those that have submitted to sign up via phone to please dial into the conference line now using those instructions that were provided to you, and we'll go ahead and give you a moment to do so. All right, we will now hear from those that have requested to speak via phone. Again, when it's your turn to speak, you'll be unmuted. You will hear a recording that will tell you to begin your comments after the beep. I'd like to remind the callers again, they should mute their TV or live video stream before they begin speaking, and we'll go ahead and begin with our first caller.
Good morning. My name is Kathleen Lippett. Along with public health practitioners, educators, ER physicians, addiction specialists, you continue to provide the harmful outcomes of economically conflicted policies. We strive to provide to protect youth and young adults from the unintentional and ignored harms of high THC marijuana use. The list of research documentation of harms includes, but not exclusively, the rate of violent behavior rate. It doubles for daily marijuana users aged 18 to 34. Increased anxiety, depression, paranoia, psychosis, marijuana dependence, and addiction, especially among those with still developing brains. Child fatality reviews from several states report marijuana the drug identified for child abuse and fatalities, more so than alcohol, cocaine, or meth. The majority of heavy marijuana users are also parents with minor children. That's a significant factor that leads to children ending up in foster care when they have drug-abusing parents. No war or acts of terrorism in history compares to the human or economic costs, which estimated to be over nearly $4 trillion. And while the government has the responsibility to protect the people, they have failed to do so in the area of drug abuse, largely because of the marijuana industry's influence and lobbying. Bertha Madrasi, internationally recognized Harvard researchers, noted that politicians continue to urge more spending on addiction treatment and harm reduction while weakening the laws that prevent people from becoming addicted in the first place. She observed that marijuana seems to be highly addictive for state and local governments that tax.
Thank you. Your time is up. We'll go to our next speaker.
Sure Monica, remember when you said there's some things you don't want to say into a mic? It seemed like I was the only person who understood what that meant, because I've also been at that crossroads many meetings, but sometimes crossing the line is necessary. Yesterday, I was actually going to thank Nora for June 5th when she politely asked a certain speaker to direct their comments toward the board rather than attacking other speakers. Civility via a polite ask, not censorship. It's a great example of de-escalation. But that compliment got cut because what I witnessed yesterday was the complete opposite. So my open mic feeling about yesterday's meeting, it was absolutely disgusting. I literally lost my appetite, and I love to eat. The sudden compliment about being on topic when you, Nora, totally interrupted me earlier that day while I was on topic didn't really hold water. Even if you didn't mean to act manipulative, it sure came across that way. On mic, it was a compliment at the expense of other people, which isn't really a compliment. It's like an insult wrapped in glitter and gold stars. Don't matter how pretty it is, it's still an insult. But if it was meant to be legit appreciation, good. Because my future participation in these meetings is not a guarantee. I'm not a fan of toxicity. But I get the berserk mode, Nora. You had to keep your frustration silent for 2 months. Got it. My advice, write down your feelings as they happen. Say little out loud. And as for this misbehavior,
we're going to break the rules a little and just give a big round of applause. I wanted to take this moment to break the rules.
Next time you call for rules to be broken, I call on all people to start booing. Adhere to the rules at all times or just change the unconstitutional rules. Improve things or keep them toxic. Your choice. I choose to be a lighthouse in the storm. And my voice made Fox 5 News yesterday. That's the only appreciation I need from anybody. Just kidding. Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you. We'll go to our next speaker.
So, I would like to bring something to light about these flags that you guys have flying all over the place. People would consider them a pride flag. That would be the American flag, but that is actually, people look at that as domestic terrorism, basically, to actually be, prideful of your nation because it is no longer America. But with these pride flags, there are transgender, which is also the MAP. They're the exact same flag, mind attracted person. Those are pedophiles. And we are promoting pedophilia by having these flags being flown or being shown anywhere. And as a victim, it's really disturbing to see that this kind of stuff can take place. And it's like, I just basically need to sit down and shut up and deal with, being a victim of a pedophile and, just having that flag flown. Like, it's so prideful. It's so great. Yes, we love to touch children. We love to rape children. We love to do all this stuff to children. Right? And it's like, it's disturbing because we shouldn't even be sexualizing children and all the things that are happening, telling them that they can change their gender when that will never happen, no matter what they do to their body. When their bones are dug up, decades later, it's still going to show who they were born as. And as long as we continue to, protect predators, because that's what this is, and it's very disturbing having, again, being a victim, to see this kind of stuff being prideful. It is an abomination. And the fact that we continue to do this and invert everything and make what's bad is good and good is bad, that's why our nation is going to suffer significantly in the near future. We're already suffering, but what's to come is not good because we will be reaping what we have sown for so long. And if you understand what that means, you would be terrified of what we have to face. Because this is Babylon, and these are the days of Noah. And what's bad is...
Thank you. Your time is up. And Vice Chair Lawson-Remer, not seeing any other callers in the queue. That concludes the request for non-agenda public communication this morning.
Okay, well, thank you. This meeting is adjourned.
The next regular meeting of the board will take place on Tuesday, July 16th at 9 a.m.